Hey, welcome to Macintosh Librarian Labs. Today we're going to be opening a new package that we got in the mail, the Bambu Lab A1 printer combo. This is a revolutionary low-cost printer that will help us print little Mackie figures that I give away at VCF. I would also be printing out some cool cases for projects, and this will be a great companion to my Bambu Lab X1 carbon that I have with AMS. So I'm very excited to get the Bambu Lab A1 working and set up for everyone to see. Bambu Lab did send me this printer along with some accessories, so this is a sponsored video, and that's why you saw sponsored video down in the description. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get that printer open. All right, so here we have the Bambu Lab A1 in its big giant box. Let's go ahead and open it up. I have a safer knife this time. It is a, what is this? I don't know. It's a knife. So I'm going to open it. It is packed very well. There it is. All right. Whew. I like the way new electronics smell. I know something about this off-gassing plastic. It's probably not good for me, but anyway, here we go. Right here we have a build plate stuck to this thingy. It's a PEI sheet. So this also comes with the AMS Lite. So this is like a little bowl caddy that goes off to the side. You can buy like 2 or 3 A1s for the price of an X1 carbon. So you're definitely saving a lot of money. So let's open it up and see if it's a good bang for your buck. So this is part of the AMS Lite. Yeah, as you can see, it is a spool holder. It has these guys here, marked 1, 2, 3, and 4, that feeds the filament into the printer so that it can automatically change colors. So this is all AMS stuff. Let's see. Let's get to the printer itself, and then we'll do the AMS. So here is the print bed. Ooh, the screen swivels out. That's pretty cute. These are in there tight. So underneath the print bed, you'll see these 4 bolts, and these are there for shipping purposes only. So you got to remove those first so the print bed can move. And you're supposed to come around through the front and put the print bed in. He has to go in at a 45-degree angle, and it kind of notches in on the right side, as you can see right there. And it slides right in. That's easy. And once we take off all the shipping stuff, then we have to take off this Y-axis cover. And then we have to bolt down the print bed to the X and Z-axis gantry. Awesome. So now we have the bed and the top put together. This is a little bit more involved than the X1, but it's a lot cheaper. So not too hard. Let's get to the next part, which is, to plug in the stuff. Okay. All right, so down here, there's this little plug. The USB-C part goes into here. It says make sure it's flush with the bottom, and you kind of push that up. This is green, so the green goes in the green. That is the X motor. This is the camera, which looks like a USB header, so I bet it's a USB thingy. So that goes into the camera port. And this is the Y-axis motor. I open up this flap, scooch it in this little hole, scooch that closed, and then it plugs into the yellow slot. Oh, like that. Perfect. Then there's this little screw right here that we need to screw down just to make sure that it's holding down the wire harness. So hopefully y'all can see that. All right, wire harness is there. It's installed. It's not going to move. There we go. Cool. All right, it's coming together. Let's see. Step 1000. Oh, now it's time to build the AMS. So now we built the printer. So I think this is done. So let's put it off to the side and we'll get to build the AMS next. AMS. Here it is. AMS. All right, cool. And we got it on the stand. That was easy. Let's put this to the side. We got an extra screw for fun. So these are the spool adapters. Look at these chunky guys. So you put your spool on this and it clamps on it. So I actually printed an upgrade for the AMS Lite that allows me to mount it to the top of the A1. I highly recommend this upgrade for your A1 and AMS because this will save a lot of desk space. And this model was actually made by Bambu themselves as an upgrade. I will show you a quick overview of how I made it, but that's not the main topic of this video. So, Future Kate here, signing out. And for the rest of this video, you might see me hopping back and forth between the regular AMS setup and the one on the top. So if you see that, that's the story behind it. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so here's the Bambu Lab A1 right here. It's basically set up, but now we need to set up the AMS, or the Automatic Material System, which is right here. This is the AMS Lite, which is cute. It reminds me of Lego Mindstorm stuff with the gray and the orange. So let's keep going with the build. So now we're on the Bowden tube part. So let me get the tubes, which are down here. So these are the tubes that feed the filament to the extruder. You have to feed the long tubes to the ones on the right. Okay, so the next part, we just have to plug in the spool holder that goes on the top and then plug in all the AMS stuff. So it's pretty simple, so I'll just fast forward through it all. And then I'll get the printer running finally. It made music. That is cool. That is adorable. See, that's what's missing from the X1 Carbon. See, more people would be buying Bambu's printers if they knew that it had little cute noises on it. It wants me to set this up. My language is English. What is the region as I am in North America. Let's connect to Wi-Fi. And it only supports 2.5G, which is fine. Let's connect to my Wi-Fi. Let's type in my Wi-Fi password. Let's make it to where y'all can't see it. Connect. Okay, I typed in my password. It took a while, but it's typed and it's in and it connected. Bambu Handy. So I got this Bambu Handy code. It puts a little QR code. I'm gonna have to censor that out. That lets me connect with the Bambu Handy app. Let's go to devices and add devices and then scan the QR code. Ah, cool. All right, calibrating for better print quality. So on the little screen, it says it's going to calibrate for better printing quality. We got motor noise cancellation, vibration compensation, and ABL, or auto bed leveling. This is not the final location where the printer is going to be, but I think this will be a good test to see how things run. So let's go ahead and start it. All right, so we're just gonna let the printer calibrate for a little bit and then we'll be right back and we'll test some prints. So there was also a step that I kind of fast forwarded through that was all about lubricating the Y-axis belt. And you have to take off the cover. It's really easy. There's instructions and you just scan the QR code. The really awesome thing about the Bambu A1 and all their other printers is that it guides you through the setup. And there's QR codes on the printer. The manual has pictures. There's videos on their website. Their wiki's very thorough. So you'll be in good hands if you're new to 3D printing. You'll have plenty of resources to go to from Bambu themselves to help you get set up and started with the world of 3D printing. So let's get to printing out a Benchy. On the latest firmware. Cool. Let's get some PLA installed. Here I have some blue PLA from my X1 Carbon. The PLA gets loaded and then it gets fed through the bottom, from what I understand, like that. And then it'll automatically start feeding it in, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and print out the Benchy, of course, in blue. Let's see. It says it's going to take 20 minutes to do the Benchy, which is pretty fast. The UI is similar. It's a toned down version of what you see in the X1, if you're familiar with the X1. It's a small screen, but it gives you an image preview of the 3D model. Has some options like, do I want dynamic flow calibration? Do I want to do time lapse? Do I want to use the AMS? And I want to use all those things. So let's go ahead and press next. And it's going to use the PLA that's there and then click print. And it's preparing. I mean, it's going to start heating the... So now it's going to start heating the bed, heat the tool head. I do love the extruder on the A systems. It looks like the Ubuntu symbol a little bit with a dot in the middle, but it lets you know when the tool head is extracting. Ta-da! And here we have the finished Benchy. This turned out really well for just 20 minutes. You'll see some stringing in like the middle of the boat, but it's actually not that bad. Considering that this is an entry-level printer, and this was able to print in just 20 minutes, this definitely shows you how far 3D printing's come in just a few years. Benchy like this on an Ender 3 probably would have taken you about a little over or under an hour to do. And on this printer, which is an entry-level printer, it only took you about 20 minutes and didn't have to do any tuning or anything. All right, so let's hop over to the computer and I'll show you Bambu Studio, which is the slicer that will allow us to take a 3D model that we download from the internet or that we make ourselves and translate it to machine code that the printer can understand so that it can start printing the physical object. What I want to do is actually, instead of printing these benchmark boats and, you know, the typical cubes and test benchies and stuff like that, let's print out some cool Mac stuff. So I downloaded a few classic Macintosh icons, made some modifications to them in Fusion 360, and went ahead and imported them into the slicer. Because these are very big and chunky models and don't have too much minute detail on the layers, I want to switch the nozzle out to a 0.6mm nozzle. So to change out the nozzle, it's actually really easy. Simply turn off the printer, make sure everything is cooled down all the way. Make sure you haven't been printing in at least 15 minutes so the nozzle is not hot in the slightest. Go ahead and take off the front cover. I find it easiest to pull off the bottom of the front cover of the hot end first. It simply kind of pulls forward and snaps off. It's pretty sturdy, so don't be too afraid of pulling it off. Once you pinch and pull it forward, you'll be greeted with this caution hot, and this is going to be the silicone sock that covers the hot end. So what you want to do is pull this sock down and towards you. This will release the silicone sock and expose the metal extruder. This is what is actually melting the plastic that is making your 3D printed object. What is awesome about these A1 machines when compared to the X1 is that these have a quick change tool head. Simply by moving this little clip and taking out this retaining arm, make sure that the filament is cut, if it hasn't been already, by pressing this little lever right here, and then pull the hot end towards you and down, and it should simply pull out. Now, all we have to do is get our 0.6mm nozzle and simply do the same thing in reverse. Putting the cover back on can be a little tricky, but all you have to do is put on the top first and then slide down the front and it should clip onto the bottom. So once you have that all set up, all you have to do is turn the printer back on, click on the settings menu on the bottom of the A1, go to maintenance, and then click on nozzle. From here, click on the nozzle that you just installed. For me, it's going to be the hardened seal 0.6mm nozzle. Now, all you have to do is go to Bambu Studio, and on your slicer itself, select that you have the 0.6mm nozzle installed, and then reslice your plate. This is because a 0.6mm nozzle will extrude a lot more plastic than a 0.4, and likewise, a 0.8 will extrude about twice as much as a 0.4. However, I'd be sacrificing detail. If you want to get minute details, but you'll sacrifice speed, I would highly recommend getting a 0.2mm nozzle. I've been getting great detail out of those nozzles on the X1 as well as the A1 printers. So anyway, let's get back to printing. From here, we can go ahead and use the color tool to add color to different layers of our object. And this is where the Bambu A1 and the other Bambu printers with the AMS really shine through when you compare it with the other printers out on the market, is the multicolor 3D printing ability. All we have to do is click this little sync button here, and that will sync the colors that we have currently in our AMS to our slicer. This will let us use the colors on our models and allow us to paint our models using this little paint bucket in the corner. Now that we have our colors loaded, let's go ahead and add some touch of color to our Claris the cow dog. While typically Claris is black and white, I do want to add a touch of whimsy to him. So let's make his outline green and his little hump on the back, or his back spot, blue. The world is your oyster when it comes to coloring your objects. However, if you want to minimize the amount of filament that is purged or pooped out of your printer, you'll want to be mindful of how you do your color changeouts. You'll see that when you slice the plate, it'll tell you how much filament is wasted and how much color changeouts it will be doing throughout the print. So depending on how many colors are spread throughout your layers, you'll have multiple color changeouts. This will add cost and time to your print. Therefore, I recommend trying to optimize where your color printing is going to be taking place. For objects like this, I like to have color kind of on the top layer, or try to restrict color to a few certain layers of my object. There's tons of printing tips out there, and I'll put some videos down below for some hot pro tips for your Bambu A1. And I might make a new video soon if y'all want me to make more Bambu A1 or just generally 3D printing videos in general. There's definitely a lot to learn, but the Slicer Bambu Studio does make it simple for you to use. So once we have our colors set up, we can then print the plate. This will send our model to the printer. And now we just have to wait. And about 7 hours later, we have our awesome print completed. Okay, so here we are. The print just finished. We have a little bit of poop in this little tray that I printed out earlier. And I have this little deflection shield that I printed out here. Ooh, deflection shield. And that allows the poop to go into this little basket right here, which keeps things nice and neat. Every time you print out different colors, there's always going to be a little bit of waste, which is unfortunate, but with careful planning on how you do color changeouts, you can minimize the amount of waste that you have with your Bambu 3D printer. Here we have our awesome Claris the dog cow with a little green outline and a blue hump on the back, which is super cute. I think Claris turned out really well, and a nice white interior and black sides and black back. This will be an awesome little desk accessory. I love Claris. Claris is really cute and is an awesome part of classic Mac and even modern Mac history. Well, now there's Smooth Claris, or I like to call Smooth Moof, which is a Smooth Claris, which I will print out another version of that later. I also printed out the hand, the grabber hand to like grab onto icons and stuff on the classic Mac, and of course the pointer hand, which was made famous and was originally made for HyperCard back in the day. It showed that links were clickable, and this ended up being what is used for icons in modern web browsers now. So it's really cool. And I think this printer did a really good job, and they came out really well. So now that I've gotten a chance to use the A1 and printed out some awesome Mac icons, and even got to print out some 3D upgrades for the Bambu A1 itself, do I recommend it for someone that's starting out in 3D printing? The answer is definitely yes. So what Bambu has done is made printers work really well, really fast. They have honed in their automatic out-of-the-box adjustment settings to where you don't have to do much calibration. You don't have to do much in terms of the difficult to build parts. It's basically, as you saw, just this basic put things together, put the top gantry on. What you get from a Bambu printer is something that will work out of the box, something that you don't have to fiddle with. There is a lot in common with an Apple Macintosh or an Apple Mac. aftermarket support for it is really good. There's a lot of aftermarket parts that are available for it from Bambu themselves. They sell a lot of the components. So if anything does break in the future, you're able to buy different components and gears and the hot end and fans and lead screws and all that fun stuff if you really want to. So right now, the A1 is on sale. So without the AMS, without the 4-color AMS, it's starting at $339, which is an awesome deal. And I'll put an affiliate link down in the description, and I ask you to use that so I can get a little bit of money back so that I can support the channel. And the A1 combo itself with the 4-color AMS runs you about $489. And that's on sale right now in the wintertime. And so under $500, you're getting a really awesome printer that can do 4 colors, that can print really fast. It has vibration dampening. It's relatively quiet. Honestly, when I'm printing in here, if I'm in the next room, it doesn't bother me. This printer prints really well, as y'all can see. And I definitely recommend it to not just beginner 3D printers, but people that are on like the Ender 3 or maybe have an older like Creality CR10, or maybe are even looking to add a supplementary printer to their high-end Bambu X1 Carbon. Honestly, I've printed out some things for giveaways for my YouTube channel when I give things out at VCF, and the quality of prints that come out of this compared to the X1 Carbon are, you have to literally be pixel peeping or layer peeping to see the difference. Thank you to Bambu for sending this over. 3D printing is definitely a big part of my channel, and it's a big part of my nerd hobbies for sure. And I'll definitely be integrating this into more future Macintosh Librarian videos, because I really do want to visit the mini Macintosh video that I made a few years back. The creator of that model, C. Genco, did update it for a new display from Waveshare. So I do want to revisit it and kind of reintroduce it again to everybody so they can start making 3D printed Macs for themselves and have little mini Macs again. So that'll be fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.